Good evening, and welcome to another edition of my Epic side of things. Now, I will at some point talk about 40k, as I started 40k in 2nd edition. I do apologise about the noise side of things. There we go, do not disturb, that's always a good button. I should have pressed that beforehand. But yes, I started 40k in 2nd edition, and that is probably the one that I played most out of all the 40ks that has been since. There is a renaissance at the moment in 40k, and at the moment, if you have 2nd edition models that you're not using, they can be quite lucrative on the second-hand market. I'm not saying that you need to scout people or anything like that, and you could always 3D print some of these models because none of them are in production anymore, unfortunately. Once upon a time you had the 3 different types of librarian all in metal at the time, and there's different flavour to them, whereas what you got later was a little bit, well, they're all monoposed to an extent, but what you get today is not the same, and they do seem to be concentrating on Terminator librarians more these days than your classic librarian. Not to say that you can't get 40k librarians, but anyway, that's something else. I did collect a Space Marine chapter. I first started with Dark Angels, but moved out. I started with a homebrew chapter, and unfortunately it has got mocked because of the colour scheme, unfortunately. Then I've repainted them a slightly different colour, another homebrew chapter. I did spend quite a lot of money at the time. I think I spent about £100 on my army, if not a little bit more. Obviously today £100 is a drop in the ocean these days compared to what it used to be. Anyhow, today I will be talking about Epic Armageddon. Before I go on about this, thank you very much for my new subscribers. I do appreciate it. Thank you guys for getting me to 25 subscribers, and hopefully we can grow from here on out. As I said, Epic Armageddon. This book is pretty much all the rules, the guides to everything that you need to play Epic Armageddon. This particular volume focuses on Space Marines, Imperial Guard, and the Orc forces. The only shame about this is that Chaos aren't included, the Tyranids are not included, the Eldar are not included. The Eldar will get their own volume called Swordwind, which I did at one point. I did actually own. I believe I may have got rid of Swordwind. Anyhow, but I did get rid of Swordwind quite some time ago. I was lucky enough to get it because the US web store had a supply of them at the time. Epic's Swordwind focused on Eldar, but also Feral Orcs, which was a bit of a strange mixture. It would have been nice if they could have plonked some Chaos in there. Anyhow, I digress. This particular Epic Armageddon focuses on, you've guessed it, the Armageddon War. I believe this is the 3rd war for Armageddon, if memory serves me correctly. This book is practically all you need to play Epic Armageddon. It's not a bad book. It's got plenty of lore, what happened at Armageddon. It focuses on certain things. Let's see if I can get it a bit closer. That's better. On certain units and it classifies who they are, what they are doing. Also, just as Epic 40,000, this uses quite a few of the miniature line from that time. So it has all the Space Marine tanks in there. The only thing that is a shame about this is where you've got so much variety in Epic Armageddon models wise, sadly it loses a bit. I mean, it must have been a cost thing, or maybe people just were not too keen. Now, one of the big differences in this one, however, is they brought in models that you could use from Battlefleet Gothic. So you could use, I mean, if it was an epic scale, that model would have been 5 meters long, I've been told. But it was representing ships in orbit which could do deep strikes and all that kind of stuff. So this used models from Battlefleet Gothic. I have actually got both of these, I believe, in my box of epic stuff, which I will do a video upon. I'd like to paint a bit more of it, to be honest, because I primed them and that's about as far as it got, sadly. So this is again on things that I've said in the past. If you get a load of models, don't get a lot of models, just get a few models, paint them up, and then once you painted them up, then if you wish, purchase more. Your painting techniques will get better as time goes along. Now, also, as I said before, this focused on Titans, but Titans were known as war engines from Epic 40,000, and they trailed off into this. Now, sadly, well, not sadly, the tanks just became a bit more generic. So, your Imperial Guard forces, well catered for. At least Vanquisher cannons stayed. Also, all your artillery pretty much stayed. The Basilisk is a lot better than the original Basilisks that came out, and the Hydra is so much better than the original Hydra. I mean, the original Hydra had a chassis and four, almost like 4 Basilisk cannons put together, which didn't quite feel right. Your Imperial tanks, super heavies, they kept 2 of them. Forge World did make some of the models that you could do to expand the line, so you could buy a epic Stormblades, etc. But sadly, they reduced everything. That they also carried on with the Imperial Navy, which, as you can see, you had your ships in orbit, but you also had your aircraft, which they were coming towards the end of Epic 40,000. These came out. Also, on top of this, you could also get some, not just only for the Space Marines Thunderhawk gunships, all metal, sadly, but there was also a metal Thunderhawk super heavy carrier, so you could carry tanks across the battlefield using this particular vehicle. Now, Titans, the Titan I've mentioned before, they kept this, well, from Epic Armageddon. I mean, it's not a bad model, but it's not the greatest either. They also kept the classic Reaver Titan, which, to be honest, is a very old model by this time. I mean, it's about 20 years old. But then they did the Warhound, and it's horrendous. I've got one of these, and absolutely horrendous compared to the original. Was a classic. This is just, yeah, it was terrible. I'm actually quite thankful that these did not carry into Legion Imperial Atlas, where you get absolutely lovely models, which are obviously much bit larger. I'm still working on a few at the moment. I've not had so much time to do them at the moment, but there is one, I'd say about halfway done. Also in this one, this didn't concentrate on legions so much. The Titan legions really were expanded and talked about loyalist and traitor legions. There's quite a lot of material. I will do the Codex Titanicus in the next video, which includes obviously all the Orc forces. Now, the Orcs had quite a good range of models. The only thing I've never seen is in the flesh is an Orc Odd Boys. I know you could buy them, but I never bought one. However, I have got some Orc forces. I did get the Orc Battle Fortresses at that time, excuse me, and very good, nice models. They changed them even more to the ones in here, so I think I ended up getting Epic 40,000. Now, regrettably, I have got Stompers. I've got two Slasher Gargants and a Great Gargant. The sad thing is, I'm regretting it now, get the Super Stomper and the later on, well, these Stompers. I do apologise about me and the camera here. These Stompers. I got the original plastic Stompers that you got in the Stompers box, but I didn't get any of those. Now, the Super Stomper would have been awesome. But I did get the Gargant and the Great Gargant. However, as I said, I've got two Mega Gargants that I was lucky enough to get in Titan Legion's box many years ago. Just as with Imperial Forces, you get Orc Space Vessels as well. This was not a bad rule set. This was pretty good. You could still probably pick up a book today and possibly use these rules instead of the Epic Imperialis rules. It's really up to you. That's one thing they never seem to promote enough, and how you have fun ultimately is up to you. In the gaming group you may be in, or the games with friends, etc. It's at the end of the day toy soldiers, and it's all about having a fun time. And sort of, if you want to play Epic Armageddon, it doesn't have to be Epic Armageddon, it could be anything else. I mean, I bought that on the second-hand market originally, and it's just as good as the day that it was bought, apart from obviously somebody put their name in it, but they blacked it out, so that's fine. This is probably easier to find, I suspect, although I've not looked for it, than Swordwind. Swordwind is very difficult to find, and I suspect there's some scalping going on. Now, it included models from Battlefleet Gothic. Now, Battlefleet Gothic has not been redone. It has many Focus games on it, but the company Focus, so it's on the PC. You've got some great, fantastic games by Focus, but it's not reared its head yet. It may do. I once did have Battlefleet Gothic, but again, I didn't get round to touching it, sadly. I ran out of space, so unfortunately I parted ways with it. It was really sad. It would have been nice to have kept that. But as with all the Epic all the systems, you have to make your mind up. Now, they have got other systems. Epic got pushed to specialist games. In specialist games, you had Necromunda, you had Blood Bowl, but back at that time, Mordain, which I never played. Blood Bowl played. It was quite fun, but you've got to build a huge Blood Bowl gang, and it's not Blood Bowl gang. Sorry, I meant Necromunda gang. Necromunda based on the world of Necromunda, and basically is gang warfare. Whereas Blood Bowl is like a different universe version of Warhammer. I'm glad I could show you Epic Armageddon. I'm going to try and keep my uploads a little bit more, as the subscribers have given me a bit of a boost, and thank you very much for your time. Have a great Saturday wherever you are, as I recorded this on a Saturday, and I'll be uploading this very shortly. Also, please like, and for those of you who have not subscribed, please subscribe. I have quite a lot more to show. At some point I will show my second edition Eldar Force. It is almost making me want to do Eldar again, but again, it's time, and if I was to do Eldar again, I'd start small and build up. The Acid Warriors are slowly getting redone in plastic, which makes it a bit more attractive, as some of the Aspect Warriors, like the Warp Spiders, are 20 odd years old, and poses are a bit mundane, so it'd be nice to see them change them in some way, but keep the classic aesthetic. Anyway, wherever you are, Happy New Year, have a good day, and be lucky, and also see you in the next video.